Hi guys, welcome to TechBrain YouTube channel. Are you tired of manually editing the same YouTube intros over and over again? Or wrestling with complex FFmpeg scripts just to automate one clip? Well, today's your lucky day. In this video, you will learn how to automate YouTube intros using Python and ShortStack, a cloud-based video editing API that makes rendering intros as simple as writing JSON. Let's dive in and automate the boring stuff. Here are what you will learn in this video. How to configure and use the ShortStack Python SDK. Build timelines with video and audio programmatically. Submit render jobs and handle asynchronous polling. And apply best practices for asset hosting, logging, and scaling your workflow. So, what is ShortStack? ShortStack is a cloud-based video editing API that gives developers full control over rendering timelines, clips, overlay, transitions, and more, all through code. It supports Python, Node.js, PHP, and Ruby SDKs and can render thousands of videos in parallel without you needing to manage any infrastructure. Think of it as your video rendering pipeline in the cloud. Here is why ShortStack stands out. No more FFmpeg headaches. Full timeline-based editing with layers and effects. Support for AI-generated templates. Works with webhooks. Supports multiple formats. It is highly scalable and trusted by over 20,000 developers worldwide. Before we get started, here are what you need. Python 3.6 or newer. Install the SDK, a ShortStack API key. Just sign up for a free sandbox account on your dashboard, as you can see on the screen. And of course, basic knowledge of REST APIs and how JSON payloads work. Let us quickly understand how the system works under the hood. You write a Python script using the ShortStack SDK. That script builds a JSON payload describing the timeline. Think clips, overlay, audio, text, etc. You call the ShortStack API using the post request with the render endpoint. ShortStack's serverless render farm processes that payload into a final video. Then you poll the API or use webhooks to get the final render URL. Simple, powerful, and highly scalable. Let us break down the code that powers this automation. First, we import our dependencies. This includes ShortStack's Python SDK components, models like video asset, soundtrack, clip, track, and so on, which help us build a full video timeline programmatically. We configure our connection to ShortStack using the sandbox API endpoint. Notice that we are securely pulling our API key from our environment variable called ShortStack key. Always avoid coding secrets. This make intro function accepts a video URL and music URL, then creates a basic track using video asset. We set the clip to start at 0 and play for a default duration of 5 seconds. Now, we add background music with a fade-in effect. Assign it to the timeline and set the output format and resolution, in this case, standard definition MP4. All of this is wrapped into an edit object, ShortStack's way of defining the full video structure. Once we have built the edit, we submit it to the ShortStack API using post-render function and return the render ID so we can track its progress. This function checks the status of the render every 2 seconds. If it is done, we return the final video URL. If it fails, we print full error messages and even the full timeline JSON to debug. Finally, we run the whole pipeline. We provide a sample video and audio URL called the make intro function to kick off rendering and then poll for the final result. Once complete, we print the final video URL. Your rendered video intro is live. No video editor required. And that is it. With just a few lines of Python, we built a custom video intro generator, hosted in the cloud, rendered at scale, and ready to automate your content workflow. Don't forget to use environment variables for secrets. Use high-quality assets and replace polling with webhooks for production scaling. And keep your edits modular for reuse purpose. Alright, we've run our code and now let us break down exactly what just happened behind the scene. This is a complete automated pipeline from submitting a render request to building the timeline and finally receiving the rendered video file, all in just a few seconds. As soon as we hit submit, ShortStack takes over. The render jobs goes through a sequence of backend state, fetching, rendering, and finally done. Each stage reflects a real-time update from ShortStack's cloud rendering engine, and our polling function keeps track of this progress smoothly. Once the video is ready, ShortStack returns a public URL to download or embed the final rendered MP4 file. No need for hosting, no waiting around. The video is automatically served from the cloud. What you're seeing here is reliable backend driven video automation in action with structured polling, robust error handling, and a simple Python script. We have just automated what used to take hours of manual editing. So whether you are rendering one intro or 1,000, this workflow proves that cloud-based video generation can be fast, scalable, and developer-friendly. Here is our audio MP3 file. And here is a video intro generated. The background sound was extracted from the MP3 file. Before you take this into production, here are some best practices to help you build a secure, scalable, and reliable video automation pipeline. Secure your API key. Always use OS gets env function to load your API key from environment variables. For advanced use cases, consider tools like .env files or secret managers like Azure Key Vault. Host your assets on a fast CDN or S3. Video and audio files should be served from reliable and performance sources like Amazon S3 and Cloudflare CDN for faster render times and fewer failures. Avoid excessive polling. Implement exponential backup when polling the API to avoid rate limiting errors. 4 to 3 too many requests. Log every step of your workflow. Include both requests and response payloads in your logs. This makes debugging easier and provides a clear audit trail for every render job. Handle errors gracefully. Always inspect error from the API response and have fallback logic in place. This ensures your pipeline doesn't break unexpectedly. Design for idempotency. Check if a video intro has already been rendered for a given user or config. This prevents duplicate renders and helps manage costs. So let us bring it all together. In just a few lines of Python, you have seen how to automate YouTube intro production using ShortStack. ShortStack's SDKs abstracts away the heavy lifting, letting you build professional timelines with full control over clips, soundtracks, effects, and rendering. And when paired with secure API practices, structured polling, detailed logging, and idempotent logic, you are not just scripting a video, you are building a production-ready rendering engine. This workflow is incredibly extendable. You can add dynamic text overlays, scene transitions, AI-generated content, or even create bulk videos with a single script. From intros to full-on video automation, the possibilities are endless. If this video helped you, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. I do love to hear what you are building.